Rex Nutting, my other favorite Keynesian, is sitting there in Washington, D.C. Rex, first let's talk. You had a piece out today about the job market. All you did was basically point out that the jobs numbers on Friday stunk, which I think we can basically agree. But you seem to be saying, hey, listen, all you people like Evan Newmark who don't like the government spending, it's a problem, and that's why job growth stinks. Am I getting that right, Rex?
Well, I think that we are seeing some of the impact of the slowdown in government spending, especially on the local government side. We've had big cuts in local government employment and in spending, and I think it is holding the economy back right now to some extent. That we don't have as much stimulus as people think.
That's right. But when we look at sort of the huge plus over $1 trillion deficits that the government is running, I don't understand how we can actually argue that the government is contracting when government deficits keep on expanding. What am I missing there, Rex?
Well, in terms of growth, in terms of GDP, what matters for whether we're adding or subtracting from growth is the change in the government stimulus, the government position. And right now we're running lower deficits than we were 2 years ago, especially on the state and local side, and especially if you could adjust that for inflation, which is what really counts for growth. And so we're seeing that the government is not adding to growth right now, it's actually subtracting from growth, and that's just as this was planned out in 2009 when the Obama administration came in. It was supposed to be temporary. You put a little money in for a couple of years, and then it washes back out of the system, and everything's supposed to be fine.
Right, but Rex, please explain to me why cutting back on government jobs or government spending is necessarily a bad thing. Let's take the Postal Service, for example. And I understand that may not count strictly as government jobs, but just bear with me. We know that over the next few years, we will have to reduce the size of the Postal Service workforce by at least 300,000, maybe 400,000 people. It is inevitable. Why doing it now, or why cutting back on spending now? Why is that de facto a bad thing?
Well, I think that we should be cutting jobs that are unnecessary or inefficient, like the Postal Service jobs. A lot of those have been kept in place because of politics. Congressmen like to have lots of postal workers in their district. They like to have 5-day or 6-day-a-week service. So there's a lot of stuff going on there with the Postal Service. They need to be smaller, you're right, and we should get rid of those jobs. But if there are people who are providing essential services like teaching our kids and doing public health and grading the roads and fixing the highways, those are jobs we really need to have done. And if the government doesn't do them, they don't get done at all.
Right. What do you think is going to happen? I don't want to turn us across the Atlantic, but Francois Hollande, who is the new president of France, is going to have the same fundamental issue. What will he do, in effect, to deal with in France, the government is 56% of the GDP. How do you get growth going in a country like that where the government is already such a big chunk of the economy?
Well, I don't think that I know, and I know that Hollande doesn't know either, or else he would have said something about it during the campaign. I think they're in a very tough position there, and I think maybe the only thing they can really do is hope that they can get the southern tier, Greece and Spain and the rest of them, back in the good graces of the bond market by maybe these Eurobond idea might work. But in terms of growth policies for France, I think we've kind of run out of ideas.
Right. And that's why I kind of look at France and I look at the U.S. and I go, there's a big difference in terms of degree of the stimulus and the government spending. But directionally speaking, you can only do the stimulus for so long. Can't you, Rex, or am I missing something?
Well, the government can print money, and there's plenty of people who want to buy our bonds. So I don't think that we're running up in the limits in the United States of what we could do in terms of stimulus to get us out of this very, very bad depression or recession that we're in. But in the long run, we do need to bring our deficits under control. We need to get more back into balance. And the problem, of course, is that we spent the money in the good times and it wasn't there in the bad times when we really needed it.
Right. Rex Nutting, thank you very much. Check out his pieces in
Sure.
MarketWatch.